Dang, look at all this moisture. Like, this is unusual, but yeah, it's the 21st century. So we went from 19 degrees on Monday. It's now Saturday. It was 70 yesterday, and it's been raining all week, like a lot. Flooding everywhere. I guess this is just normal, but I think that it's been raining so long, so much, that it's basically just leaching up through the concrete. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Between the Sharks. It's Saturday morning, got a couple little brown dog coffee, and we've got some fenders to deal with. Let's get after it. Now, in the last episode, maybe I'll put a link here if I remember, probably won't. We cut these things down to fit the touring body. They were coupe fenders, they are now touring fenders, sort of. But in doing so, we cut the structure out, right? Essentially, this bend is the backbone that keeps the radius and the floppiness out of the fenders. Now, it keeps the radius in the fenders and the floppiness out of the fenders. So we've got to put that back in. That's the simple part. We know exactly what we need to do. Add the structure back in, also the part that bolts from the fender to the body so that we can install the thing. That's what those holes are for. The how, that's the tricky part. So this guy's not attached at all, and you can see, like, you can twist it, you can bend it. The radius can change around the wheel, but we can also kind of do this sort of a number. That's problematic. So on this side over here, I tack welded the fender on, hopefully to use the car as a buck to hold the fender in the shape that a guy wants the fender to be in, which is the shape of the car body, mostly. Problem is, now I gotta get in here and somehow create the piece from the inside. So that's option one. Option two is I can now make a template for this and cut out a piece of steel that would essentially kind of go back in on my fender like that without this fender attached, which I might do. But then after that, to make it right, I feel like I've got to attach it to the welded on fender in order to make the whole thing stay the way that I want. Because the last thing I want to do is get this to stay in the wrong shape. These fenders are pretty solid. Like, if they were on the workbench, I could do some TIG welding and make it really sexy. But I got a feeling by the time we're done with it, it's gonna be all cobbled up. Well, I made this template at some point along the way, but you didn't need to see, considering I've done plenty of kindergarten level arts and crafts, I bet you know how I did it. Anyway, it's actually like a heavyweight paper, but considering it's been over 90% humidity for over 5 days now, it's very limp noodly. Well, I turned on this heater to try to dehumidify this place, but that's about like bailing out the Titanic with a teacup, and if you can hear it, the rain is already starting, and like, it's barely happening out here, but in here, it just sounds like somebody's dropping a billion BBs on the roof, and it's only gonna get more intense. Bear with me. All right, let me show you the plan, Stans. So I've got my paper template. I transferred that to a piece of wood left over from the van build, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out. That's gonna give me something hard to clamp metal to around the edge, and or something to use to cut the metal edge with a jigsaw. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna skin this cat, but I wanna show you this leftover piece from the fender that I cut out, the original piece. It fits part of the radius, so I may end up using this and just filling in the rest. I'm not really sure. It's Saturday, my steel supplier is closed. I called them, they didn't have any 18 gauge sheet metal anyway. So we're kind of in a pickle. I need to get some sheet metal to have it on the shelf in different gauges, but that's neither here nor there today. I have a little bit of 16 gauge, but it's not big enough to do the whole radius, especially not twice. Remember that thing I said about wanting to do it real nice, but then ending up probably cobbling it together? Well, we'll do our best, but we're gonna have to make it out of a couple of pieces. Now, for those of you folks at home that are in this for entertainment, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. For those of you that are watching because you're trying to figure out how to do something very similar, this channel has always been about process over progress. Getting to this point is a couple hours worth of work. Like, not even kidding you. I had to gather the materials and find some big paper and tape it together and make a template and then find the wood and then pull out the jigsaw and cut it all. Like, I'm skipping some of those steps, but don't get discouraged if this is taking you forever, because it just takes forever. That's just how it is. Like, if you're like me, your shop is not set up to do this type of stuff every single day. Today, we're making a fender thing. Tomorrow, we're gonna be doing brakes or something like that. So, different tools, different skills, different setups, different everything. And so, shifting modes and shifting gears to get one project done, just dive into it, man. It's gonna take longer than you want it to, or longer than you would expect, and longer than it seems to on YouTube. All right, let's get to grinding. All right, gang, I wanna try to show you how this is working to make sense of it all. So we've got our jig here, right? Like so. This little corner Madoo is what we have to fill in, and that'll fit in right here. And then I've got to just figure out what this is from my paper template to here. We'll basically have to cut this off and make, you know, this situation kind of work. Now, in theory, I could kind of take this wooden template and jam it into the fender, clamp it all, and kind of weld it as a jig, but that's not going to be as good as doing it on the car, because that template does not have any of the curvitude this way that the car has. From here, it kind of bulges out to here and starts tapering back again. So it's a lot of compound curvitude, which we want in our fender because that's what makes them look so good. So the way I think I'm gonna have to approach this is build the piece, have the fender tacked on like so, pull the tire and all of that jazz, and work from the bottom and see if I can get it structurally soundified while it is on the car. That is going to be the most accurate way, even though it's going to be probably the most difficult way to actually do the work. Know what I'm saying? All right, for all you nerdy Poindexters out there that think this is actually pretty interesting, check this out. So I put the piece of the fender that I cut off in the last video to make that happen back together with the original piece there. And look at this. This kind of tells the tale of what we're really doing here. You can see that about lines up. That about lines up. We have essentially a missing blade width from a jigsaw here, and the part I ground off. But that's the difference in profile. So it's subtle, but it is significant. That's essentially the reshaping of that fender that we are doing now. The fenders, without the structure in there to hold it in this shape, we can make it stretch out to be the shape of the Model T, which is gonna really look great. People aren't gonna know why the hell that Model T fender looks so good, because it's not a Model T fender, and they're gonna say, well, that can't be a Model A fender because it fits too darn good. And here we are, making that happen. All right, so I've got this part kind of ready. I'm gonna go ahead and zap this together here. I'm gonna wait to finish out this part, because if a guy puts his eyeballs on the fender, it kind of really hooks out right here. So I think this piece is gonna be pretty custom. That's all that came to mind. But basically, it may be longer than it appears in 2 dimensions once we bend it into this 3rd dimension right there. Well, gang, here's some no joke hot rodding stuff. You know, if you're like me in your garage trying to weld, but I have 035 wire in my welder and that doesn't want to do sheet metal, because that stuff wants to be at a bajillion to make the thing melt. So we're gonna stop and I'm gonna reload the thing with some thinner gauge wire. But that's, you know, sometimes that's where the time goes, team. And now for my next trick, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta get this tire off. One thing I've learned about this lift is it's very hard to lift a car while it's on the lift. I keep thinking I had to make something to hold up jacks and all that jazz. Haven't done it yet. So I'm gonna fight that for a few minutes and I'll see you in a minute. Gang, I swear this is directly related to the project at hand. Sure doesn't feel like it. How did I get this up here, I wonder? How do I get it down without killing myself? I wonder. I'm going with Bruce. Both Bruces. Spot me, Bruce. Gang, whoo, time travel. Welcome back to now. So I just put that evolution saw through the motions and built this here contraption. So that actually went so well, that'll be next week's video. So stay tuned for that if you are interested in how that evolution saw works. For us now, we just got to get these wheels off. So this was a long journey into being able to lift the car up so that I could get the wheels and tires off so that we could access the underside of the fender where we got to weld in our brand new to us made jigified medular thing. Right? Clear as day. I could find the right tool, but this one was close by, you know what I'm saying? I'm guaranteed to lose these lug nuts in like 7 seconds. Put them on the running board. Lost forever. All right, there we go. Okay. Can't tell if I'm being deceived by everything being the color of black and rust. Well, let me show you what we're working with here. This actually fits really well here. I just have this magnet and plastic bag to knock the shavings off it, the filings as it were. Here, we start to get not right. So my guts are to cut this off, start tack welding this other piece on, and then just keep working this until it fits. Fix things substantially. It was essentially looking like, no, that's the extra length that was really killing us. Yeah, that actually looks really good. We got a tiny bit of a gap right there, but it's less than the one on the other side. So, I guess we're welding now. Just gotta get my hand back. Fire up this welder, gang. This has been a long time coming, like this whole fender process. And now we're getting here. Trying not to weld through and weld it to the car from the bottom. Because, well, we'd be cutting that guy apart if we did that. There we go, that sounds better. Got her a little more dialed in. Well, it's a minor crossroads here. She's pretty well tacked in. It's just a matter of, do I cut it loose from the body and finish welding it on the bench, or do I keep trying to weld upside down? Because, you know, I think my bigger concern is not about being upside down, but about welding through and then attaching it from the bottom to the body, which would be a bummer, let's say. So I feel like I got it. And if I didn't get it, well, then I guess I didn't get it, you know? Don't know, you know? I mean, I feel like it's free, you're free to cut loose. I feel like it's okay if I break it loose from here. It's got a tack weld every 1/2 inch. So even if I made a spring, let's do it. All right, nobody lives forever. All right, gang. So here's what we got from the other side here, gang. Not the prettiest thing in the world, I would say, but hey, it's not that bad. I feel reasonably confident. I mean, is this a fun TIG welding project? Is that what I should be doing here? I mean, I gotta set it all up and figure it all out. But that's not a no, right? Right? Maybe. All right, gang, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this whole thing up with the grinder, and then maybe we'll try to TIG it, because I'm way out of practice, and the only way to get back in practice is to practice. So, if you haven't noticed, I'm not the type of guy that's gonna take 2 pieces of metal and just practice welding. So, what I got here is 2 pieces of metal that need to be welded, so we're just gonna struggle through it. I think it's gonna be great. All right, gang, TIG is humming away. What are the odds I stick the tungsten to the work instantly? They're high, gang, they're high. I also hope I clean this well enough. Like MIG, you can MIG through paint if you have to. It's not gonna be a good weld, but it'll do the thing. TIG, on the other hand, will just not. It likes clean and sanitary environs. Anyway, super out of practice, so here goes nothing. It's also wiggling a good bit, which is gonna make my life harder. Do we care? I don't know. Let's try to strike an arc, see what happens. Well, I didn't contaminate the tungsten, so that's kind of a surprise. I'll take it. Well, maybe I did, I don't know. Huh, let's clean that up. Gang, I was having all sorts of trouble with this. I'm extremely out of practice. I didn't clean the metal well enough. I'm extremely out of practice. And I was having all of this weird, because of the lights, I ended up turning out almost all the lights and putting that there because this helmet was reflecting really bad every kind of light behind me as I looked down. So anyway, I want to show you what this is because, you know, mostly because it's not good, and that's fine. I'm here to like entertain myself and maybe you guys and learn something in the process, maybe. I'm glad I got the thing hooked up and I just need to practice with it and I'll get better. It's that simple. It's not like riding a bike, thankfully, because I enjoy riding a bike and I can go without riding a bike for 6 months, jump on it, and not face plant immediately. That is not true with TIG welding for me. That said, it's Saturday night and I like to party, and that means I like to watch Svengoolie, and it's 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up with the MIG welder, and then we'll grind it down and we'll all take a look at it together. Just gonna fill these holes, and you know what? I'm not there with the TIG today. Just plain not. Let's do some karate here. That's pretty easy. All right, not really a work of art, but hey, it'll do. It's gonna be under this fender lip and it's gonna have fender welting on top. So let's jam it on there and see how we did. Moment of truth. All right, gang, she is all bolted up, but watch this. The whole car is moving. The fender's not doing any wiggling. The actual car is moving. Great success, I think, considering how loosey-goosey, floppy it was. The contour is right. We've got a little bit of a gap, but there is some adjustment in our slotted thingies. I just haven't fought with it much yet because it's gonna have to come back off and get, you know, touch up paint and all that stuff and cleaned up. And there's also fender welting that goes in this gap because I'm gonna run original style fender welting on the whole car. But yeah, I'm pretty jazzed on this. It has been a lot to get there, a lot of stewing, a lot of thinking, a lot of getting over the being afraid of actually cutting up, you know, 100-year-old fender and then making it so. So I'm pretty thrilled. I mean, as jalopy-y as this is, the dream really is to have people be able to like climb on this and get in. Like that's the kind of car this is supposed to be, that kind of fun. So we'll add some fender bracing and all of that stuff. I have been out here for 12 hours now on a Saturday, and what I've gotten done is this fender, and I built that contraption down there. Now, that said, this is the first full day I've had in the garage in a really long time, and I actually enjoyed myself. So get out there, I guess, when you can. I've been piecemealing everything together, but today it was a nice day to have dedicated to this. It was rainy and gross, and we just kind of came in here and got some stuff done. Is it the best work you've ever seen? No. Is that what this is about? No, it never was. We're just building a hot rod. Gang, get out there, enjoy your projects, get better at what you want to get better at, cobble together what you don't. I don't know. I have that other fender to do, but it's gonna be the same process over again. So I'm gonna spare you the details. We will see you next time on Between the Sharks. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck on your projects out there. See you next week.